What's up, everyone? Welcome back. Today, we have a different episode. I usually cover, if you're new to the channel, I usually cover some strange conspiracy stuff. But GTA 6 has been delayed. Not that I really care, because I don't really play video games anymore. So it doesn't really matter to me that this has been delayed another year, but I think they're doing some interesting numerology stuff. Look at that, May 26th, 2026, and it's GTA 6. 666? Antichrist? Dunno. I'm just joking. I'm not going to watch the trailer. I saw the trailer already, but I'm afraid of copyright, so let's not do that. In other news, and more importantly, we have a new pope. The conclave was a lot quicker than I thought it was going to go by. I think previous conclaves have been longer. I'm not entirely sure because I don't remember the last one. I wasn't into this stuff back then, but check this out.
In the last few seconds, we have seen white smoke billowing out of the Sistine Chapel chimney. This is breaking news. We have a new pope. The Sistine Chapel chimney has signaled white smoke at 5 this evening. This means that 133 cardinals inside the Sistine Chapel have decided, have voted, and have elected the 267th Pope, the heir to St. Peter, a man who will lead 1.4 billion Catholics around the world. The crowd, Peter Square,
maybe a speech.
They have been waiting, ringing out. This is the news that Catholics around the world have famous moment. The Cardinal, this Pope, there is clapping ring.
Trying to see if maybe his speech. Hold on. Let's see here. Is this it?
Very special moment.
Very special.
There he is.
And here he is. There he is, Cardinal.
And the applause going up, the greeting, the waving,
Big
the smiles.
How amazing.
How amazing.
Really cool that he's the first American pope, and he's also from Chicago. I'm from Chicago too. Look at that. We got to represent. I'm very interested in learning more about him and what exactly he stands for, what his ideas of the world are. You know, Pope Francis was a lot more liberal, and he's caught a lot of heat for that. So I'm very curious to see what this guy's all about. I want to see the speech.
And
Where's the speech
Dr.
at?
Liz Levels
Come
was
on.
talking about the
Pope Leo the 14th.
Pope Leo the 14th.
Amazing. Smiling,
Smiling
and
Pope, yes.
you can see who wouldn't be taken by the moment. And
I think
Very
going
calm with
through his
emotion.
mind, you know, the weight of
Yeah.
this responsibility.
oh yeah.
A tutti i popoli, a tutta la terra, la pace sia con voi.
Oh, maybe
Habemus Papam! We have a new pope. This conclave was rather short, wrapped up quickly
Yeah, that's
just
what I
today,
said.
and we have a new pope who was previously known as Cardinal Francis Prevost, and now has taken the regnal name Leo the 14th. You know, I sometimes say, I hate to say I told you so. I actually called the papal name. And this was a name not merely that I was pierced. I said
All right.
Leo the
Don't
and
plug
good
yourself,
sign
bro.
Is because Leo the 13th is one of the great popes. I have actually a beautiful rosary that was given by a friend to me from Leo the 13th's pontificate. He was a wonderful. He's the first pope that ever appeared on film, by the way, because he was very, very old, right when moving pictures were coming out. And so you can actually see a little film of Pope Leo.
He's talking
blessing
about the
people.
previous pope.
He is beloved by
He's talking about the previous Pope Leon, by the way.
conservatives. John Paul II loved Leo the 13th. Leo the 13th was very...
So this is Leo the 14th. He's talking about Leo the 13th. And he was a lot more conservative, apparently. John Paul II, which is, in all honesty, probably the best pope. He's Polish, just like me. I'm half Polish, half Puerto Rican. So also represent, but Leo the 14th, he's from Chicago, man. So I'm excited. This is
very
cool.
strong against socialism. Leo XIII was strong in tradition, orthodoxy, Thomistic philosophy and theology. He also was a wonderful man to articulate Catholic social teaching. So when John Paul II was writing Centesimus Annus, he was writing about an encyclical by Leo XIII, which is called Rerum Novarum, and about these kind of new ideas and these new systems in politics. And in Centesimus Annus, John Paul II was saying communism's terrible. Free markets are an efficient way to allocate resources. This is the conservatives' pope, right? We really love this. Okay, so that's all a good sign. But I mentioned Catholic social teaching because there are a lot of other signs about the new pope that raise some eyebrows. He's from Chicago, and a priest friend of mine said that nothing good ever comes out of Chicago. He's
Oh,
joking
come
a little
on.
bit, but he's from Chicago. Some liberal prelates and
Yeah.
priests and lay.
Yeah, I figured if he's from Chicago, then he's probably a lot more liberal. Usually, any politician or people that come from here are on the liberal side. Illinois is it's a blue state, and Chicago is very liberal. So, yeah,
People seem to
interested
be
to
really
see.
excited about this. He mentioned Pope Francis a lot in his first speech
Okay.
to everyone, to the whole crowd in St. Peter's. Talked a lot about.
We see
Francis,
what side he's
talked
on.
a lot about the synodal way. Synodal way being a way of inclusivity and listening and dialogue. And many conservatives and traditional people in the church are a little worried about this, that this could
Yep.
water down doctrine, that this is ambiguous, this opens the gate to innovation. The synodal way is the way that Pope Francis was advocating. So that's all a little bit troubling. Some people are pointing out that the new Pope, Pope Leo XIV, when he was Cardinal Prevost, wrote a piece going after J.D. Vance, J.D. Vance specifically for articulating the Ordo Amoris, the hierarchy of love, the Ordo Caritatis in the language of St. Thomas Aquinas. So maybe that's not a great sign. Some people are wondering, I guess I should mention, we're 3 minutes in, I haven't mentioned, this is the first American Pope ever,
Yeah, there you go.
in the United States, that is.
Cool.
Second Latin American Pope, now that we've had 2 in a row. He's American, but he's also a dual citizen of Peru. Some are wondering, was this Pope picked in part to provide a counter political balance to Trump and to the turn
Maybe.
against mass migration in the West? And so again, we don't know what the cardinals were thinking exactly in there. I'll leave on a little sign of hope, though. The name is a very hopeful sign. The fact that he walked out in the formal vestments is a hopeful sign. The formal vestments, something that Pope Francis didn't really like. But the formal vestments are important. They're actually, I think, a sign of humility, because you're recognizing it's not about the personality of the individual, but he's taking on a new name. He is the Bishop of Rome. He is the Vicar of Christ. He is subduing his personality and maybe some of his personal preferences to the magisterium, to orthodoxy, to the church. That's what one hopes for that kind of a signal. I think we saw that a lot with Pope Benedict. Also, he gave the blessing in Latin, which is a good sign for continuity. However, there is some cause for eyebrows being raised. There is some cause for concern about things that he has said on LGBT issues, there's some cause to wonder what he thinks about the traditional liturgy. Really, with this pick, who no one was guessing, he hasn't said very much. We don't really know, and people who tell you they know for sure exactly what he thinks and what he'll do are full of it. This is someone that no one saw coming, that we don't know a lot about. There are some good signs, there are some bad signs. And he's a young man,
Mm-hmm.
69 years old, the Holy
Yeah.
Father. He will most likely be Pope for a very, very long time, decades.
Okay. And I haven't watched that video. I just randomly clicked on it, and it's interesting that he brings that up, because we're going to get to a conspiracy theory that I actually made a video about, a YouTube short about on my other channel. The conspiracy theory. So we're going to watch the short I made real quick. Pope Francis recently just passed away, and while we all have him in our prayers, people are becoming concerned about the fruition of a conspiracy theory regarding the last pope before Judgment Day. A book called The Prophecy of Popes was found in the Vatican archives in the 1500s and authored by Saint Malachy of Armagh, a saint from the 1100s. The book has 111 cryptic phrases written in Latin that predicted every single pope from Celestine II in 1143 all the way to the supposed last pope, Pope Francis. It would give a cryptic characteristic of each pope, and each was in order. The book supposedly said that Pope Benedict XVI, right before Francis, would step down and then the final pope would come into power, which actually did happen, and it was the first time in Roman Catholic history that a pope actually stepped down. There is a theory that the cardinals used this book to pick popes with precise characteristics. And in St. Paul's Basilica in the Vatican, where the Apostle Paul is supposedly buried, bordering the ceiling inside, there's a picture of every single pope, starting with Peter and going all the way to Pope Francis. But the strange part is that there's only a certain amount of open slots to place these pictures. And many people are saying that there's only one slot left after Pope Francis. Now the theory is that once the last slot is filled, it will be the beginning of the end times, which some believe is the literal end of the world, while others believe it may be the beginning of a new era. And scary enough, the book actually ends in a paragraph stating, "In the final persecution of the Holy Roman Church, the seven-hilled city, which is Rome, will be destroyed, and the dreadful judge will judge the people." But the problem is that a lot of this evidence is just straight up fake. The prophecy actually first appeared in print in 1595 in a book by a Benedictine monk, Arnold Wyon, over 400 years after St. Malachy supposedly wrote it. And after 1590, the cryptic messages became very vague and very hard to attribute to specific popes. And I've also done some digging on this, and I found some pictures that show that the last photo slot after Francis isn't actually the last photo slot. There's a lot more. Church historians, including so people were basically straight up lying about the photo slot thing. Like, the pictures that I saw, and if you look up pictures online, everyone's like, oh, it's the last picture slot. No, it's not. There's plenty. There's plenty more. There's like three more that I saw in other pictures. The Vatican Library have largely dismissed it as a forgery. But what do you think? Are the end times near? Because Pope Francis... So, okay, plug my documentary channel. If you guys want to check out my documentary channel, feel free. I'm going to be posting a new video on there quite soon. I'm working on it right now. I'm not going to tell you what it's about, but it's a very interesting subject, and I would love for you guys to see it. So come subscribe to B1 Productions and check out my documentary channel. I was going to cover the whole Epstein announcement, the whole O'Keefe Epstein announcement, but I think we're going to save that for another video. But yeah, that was the new Pope before GTA 6. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It was a little different for me. I usually cover strange conspiracy stuff, but here we are covering the new Pope. And yeah, have a fantastic rest of your day.